What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you an update for Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader in the form of a new companion reveal, the much-awaited Sister of Battle. However, by itself, I probably wouldn't have made a video about that. I likely would have just done a community update and called it a day. However, the post talking about the new companion also mentions a specific place in the Coronis Expanse, which I'm probably butchering the name of, and it refers to a specific city that was outlined in the Rogue Trader source materials a bit, so I thought I'd make a video talking about both of those things. But first and foremost, let's talk about the recently revealed companion that will be joining our retinue in the game, and this is Sister Argenta. As I mentioned, she is a Sister of Battle, which is one of the orders militant of the Adepta Sororitas, or a female portion of the ecclesiarchy in Warhammer 40k, which is a bit of a mouthful to say, but for those not versed in Warhammer 40k lore, and honestly I just kind of scraped the surface of it myself so far, the Imperium of Man is run by the ecclesiarchy, which has a lot of religious roots in worshipping their god emperor, and the Adepta Sororitas is the sort of female arm of the ecclesiarchy. However, even that has some sub-factions, one of which being the Sisters of Battle, who are dedicated to being as proficient in combat as they can. To them, battle is their form of prayer, if that makes sense. And of course, Sister Argenta is a Sister of Battle. Let's talk a little bit about her background. She was an orphaned daughter of Imperial Guard officers, which means she was sent to an institution called the Scala Progenium. In Warhammer 40k, human life is kind of grinded through, and orphans of officers of the military, if you will, get sent to the Scala Progenium, which acts as a sort of orphanage as well as a training ground for future officers. Prior to this, Argenta apparently only has one memory, and it is fragments of some sort of battle, likely the one her parents died in, before she comes across the double-headed eagle that is the symbol of the God Emperor of mankind. Naturally, this sparks a bit of faith in her, as she feels the reason she survived this ordeal is because of this, and it was some sort of miracle, if you will, from the Emperor himself, and thus she dedicated herself to the Scala Progenium and then the Adepta Sororitas, which is how she became Argenta, the Sister of Battle. However, it does get a bit more interesting from there. It would appear that she was originally supposed to be sent to the city of Footfall, which we'll talk about here in just a second, to help guard a holy reliquary. For some reason, she steps away from this duty, presumably to join our crew, possibly, but the specifics are left a little vague. Basically, we know that she was supposed to guard this holy reliquary, but obviously steps away from it in some form, which is likely a tease for the events of the game itself, and that is pretty much what we know about Argenta up at this point. However, I mentioned the city of Footfall. That is what I want to talk about in the back half of this video, because Footfall is a somewhat important city for the Rogue Trader source material, that is to say the tabletop game the crpg here will be based on. Now, to give a very short description of Footfall, it is sort of Warhammer 40k's version of a hive of scum and villainy. It is a void port, that is to say a port out in space, composing of asteroids and a giant statue of the God Emperor. But Footfall is really interesting because it is sort of a meeting point of all sorts of people. Its main existence, if you will, is dictated by driving profit, as it is kind of out in the wild, so to speak. And naturally, it's a pretty cutthroat place, but you can find some amount of representation of pretty much every type of person. That is to say, chaos cultist, unsanctioned psychers, heretics, the whole nine yards. And while this is, of course, where Argenta got sent to guard this reliquary, I think it is likely to also play a role in the game itself, as Footfall is a rogue trader city, meaning that it was actually founded by a rogue trader, and they have a very interesting rule where any rogue trader that visits the city is pretty much in charge. And seeing as we're playing a game as a rogue trader in a place where Footfall exists, I think it's safe to say we'll be going there, and it might even serve as some sort of base of operations, but that's purely speculation, as it's pretty obvious with a place like this that rulers don't exactly last long. So a rogue trader showing up here and trying to change everything is likely to get stabbed in the back. But nonetheless, the city will respect a rogue trader to some degree, but while that's a sort of interesting rule, another crime, if you will, of this place is hindering business, which is kept deliberately vague, but basically, if you keep people from making money, you could very well be persecuted in Footfall. But overall, an interesting location that has tons of ties to rogue traders as an organization, and given what we know about the game already and some of the factions involved, such as the Word Bearers and the Chaos Cultists, I think it makes sense that Footfall would show up, especially combined with its mention in this companion reveal. But that's all I've got for you guys today, just some interesting info I thought I would share and talk about this new companion a bit. With all of that said, I certainly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz, but regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.